Alright, sounds of Richie Spice, thing called Lockdown.
In the inner city, some say hidden a pretty. Living in the inner city, bad boys and police in town. Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. And every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Bad boys and police in town. Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. And every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Curfew in all the area, better get prepared. Say them searching for the leader, looking for paraphernalia. Business stop rap, it's like everybody trap. From corner to corner, they make every hustling stop. Bad boys and police in town, civilians take cover, the whole place like down. And every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Bad boys and police in town, civilians take cover, the whole place like down. Every time them sound the gun, another one go down. From a little on a grow, mother and father, they tell me so. And they say, choose the right way to go. The race for the swift, no food for the slow. It's time we make a change. Stereotype thinking must be rearranged. We got to
You're in tune to the Archangel Show. Righteous music to make your halo glow.
Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. And every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Bad boys and police in town. Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. Every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Who knows it, feel it? Some can't believe it. The innocent feel it. The children don't need it. To see gunmen standing at their gate, and the people can't even determine their fate. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, no. Na 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 na. Bad boys and police in town. Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. And every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Bad boys and police in town. Civilians take cover, the whole place like down. Every time them sound the gun, another one go down. Living in the inner city.
You're now in tune to the Archangel Show every Sunday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Can't you feel the music getting hotter?
I travel on that road, making my way home, with no one to lend a hand. I often trod alone, and though it seems so hard, I travel on. I have already come this far, so I'll journey on.
Archangel, pull up that tune there. His music brings tears to my eyes.
Can you feel the music getting hotter?
I travel on that road, making my way home, with no one to lend a hand. I often trod alone, and though it seems so hard, I travel on. I have already far, so I'll journey on. Jah, He holds me by my hand, guide me on my way. Angels light each step I take, cause me not to stray. And when my feet get weak, still I press on. Already come this far, so I'll journey on. That he must bear, and so I go along my way, facing all my fear. And though it gets so hard, still I press on. I've already come this far, so I journey on. I've already come this far, I keep singing my song. Hey.
You're in tune to the Archangel Radio Show.
Yes, Jah, every day for me, as I journey along life's way, never to look back.
All praises to the only one of Israel, you know. I know for them I wonder what kind of song me a sing or comes me a say Israel. But I choose them no overstand, you know. Who overstand just overstand, and who no overstand just no overstand. This what me a say. Cause I know for them I praise the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and them now say Israel. I want them. That's right. Again. Yo. Give praises to the only one of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright, praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright then. Them I wonder what kind of song me a sing. To me say Israel and I hail the Israel King. And them lack of overstanding, me burn them on them false doctrine. Alright then, when me say Israel, them I wonder and a ponder. Them same one I hail the Lion of Judah, which is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Run go check it out if you think I lie, me I tell God. When Jacob did visit by an angel, that changed his name from Jacob to Israel. That's right. In that place Jacob called Peniel. Run go check it out if you think I lie, me I tell and give praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright, praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright then, me a feel up the conquering lion from the line of King David and Solomon. Burn them folly and them fiction. Tell them to back off with them deception. Israelite, you know to pay attention. Put ya in on the meditation. Hail to the most high of creation. Let us rise to this occasion. Yo, and give praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright, praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright then, burn them religion and me burn out them lies. Me not go bow to that blue eye guy. This is the truth many try to deny. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shayan. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High. Burn burn the false prophet, the most high prophesy. In this last days, them not get no blight. That's why me a fish out your guy and give praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright, praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises. In a corruption, me not go dwell. Alright, praises to the Holy One of Israel. Praises.
Israel, this is it. Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Egypt? Yeah, man. This is talking about the spiritual Egypt, America, the house of bondage.
Oh, that's how our Western journey began.
Yeah, man.
Babylon set its out, taking out the wages from the poor. A wicked man set its out, in this recession. What a depression.
We'll come again now. We'll come again now.
Babylon set its out, taking out the wages from the poor. A wicked man set its out, in this recession. What a depression. See guys don't give one damn. What a confusion in this recession. It's part of the evil plan. Their financial stocks are falling. The Dow Jones and the FTSE rise. Wall Street is having a problem. Someone is stating lies. All sorts of speculation. nation. People having sleepless nights. No one sees the situation of the poor man's life in this recession. What a depression. The big guys don't give one damn. What a confusion in this recession. It's part of the evil plan. What the people lost in cash plus is more than what they tell us. Plus the 50 billion stolen by the greedy Bernie Madoff. Industrial plants are closing down. People being laid off. No Benjamins, no euro, nor pound. What a big report in this recession. What a depression. The poor man don't have one damn. So much inflation in this recession. It's a part of their evil plan. In this recession, what a depression. The big man don't give one damn. What a confusion in this recession. It's part of their evil plan. For people don't have one damn. What a confusion in this recession. It's part of the evil plan. In this recession, what a depression.
You're in tune to the Archangel Show. Righteous music to make your halo glow.
man. Warm tune. Pull it up, selector. Pull it up.
Sweet reggae music. Sweet reggae music. All right, keep on playing. Go on now. Sweet reggae music playing. Sweet reggae music playing. In a distance. In a distance. Go on now. Play it in the New York City. Play it in the London town. All over the world. Go on now. Play it for the young and the old. Reggae music got them under control. Control the world. Alright then. Go on now. Sweet reggae music playing. Sweet reggae music playing.
We'll and come again now. We'll and come again now.
Sweet reggae music. All right, keep on playing. Go on now. Sweet reggae music playing. Sweet reggae music.
The Archangel Show, Sundays from the hours of 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. Make it a date.
Go on now. Play it in the New York City. Play it in the London town. All over the world.
You're now in tune to the Archangel Show.
Play it for the young and the old. Reggae music got them under control. Control the world. Alright then. Go on now. Sweet reggae music playing. Sweet reggae music playing. Playing at the dance. Playing at the dance. Go on now. When reggae music playing. When reggae music playing. I love to see the people dancing. The whole world keep on skanking. Also the friars and the tap ranking. Yanking on the banking. Go on now. Go on now. Sweet reggae music playing. You better believe me. Turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. My daddy is the king, so I am royalty. Oh, my daddy is the king, so that means I am royalty. Oh, my father is the king,
It's
so
Sunday.
I am
Put your feet up and relax
royalty.
and tune into the
I'm way
Archangel
up
Show.
with him, way up with him, way up with him, yeah. You could tell them, say, I bet you didn't know I was a bastard. To tell you the truth, I was born in shame. If you call my name, I couldn't answer. I had no legacy, I no inheritance to claim. But that's not the end of my story. So don't you chuck me off on a shelf, cause I encountered the king of glory. And him say, Sammy, me want you for myself. So him clean me up, turn me round, lift me head, fix me crown, love me right, grace among me not last, no one found. Show me off, call me son, change my name, bless me song. Now the blessing can't turn down. So me have the most. My daddy is a king, so I am a royalty, royalty. Yeah. My father is a king, so I am royalty. It no matter what you say about me, cause my father is a king.
The Archangel Show,
You never
Sundays
ever
from the
get
hours
him
of
to
4
agree.
p.m. until
I'm
6
way
p.m.
up with him, way up with him, way up with him. I don't stress too much.
You're in tune to the Archangel Radio Show. Righteous music all
Cause one
the
man
way.
alone I know can solve them, and there is really nothing that he can do. If we talk about sin, I was the chiefest, and people put me off on the shelf. But I encountered a love that's the realest. And him says, Sammy, me want you for myself. So him clean me up, turn me round, lift me head, fix me crown, love me right, grace among me not last, now I'm found. Show me off, call me son, change my name, bless me song. Now the blessing can't turn down. So me have a boss. My daddy is the king, so I am royalty. You better believe it. My father is a king, so that means I am royalty. Oh yeah, my daddy is a king, so I am a royalty. And guess what? I'm way up with him, way up. I'm seated way up with him.
Hey, go on, pick up on yourself. It's real nice and neat, man. Just a couple of minutes of some track for the Eythan. Finishing off with Samuel Midas. That's absolutely a wonderful track, Royalty. So in the meantime, between time, 25 minutes past the hours of 5 o'clock, let's get back into today's chosen topic, the Messiah in the Old Testament. All right, enough respect in every aspect.
2,000 years after the departure of Jesus the Christ, The prophets are back to teach the real Jews, the 12 tribes of Israel, their true nationality. This is their campaign.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israel.com.
And to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever.
Go ahead.
The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
And the Most High says it's going to happen. His zeal of this happening is going to happen. The Most High said it, and it shall be done. That's his zeal. Read verse 8.
Verse 8. The Lord sent a word unto Jacob.
That word goes back to that son, back in verse 6. A word unto Jacob. Go ahead.
And it hath lighted upon Israel.
That's that star in Numbers. And it have lighted that star upon Israel. That's saying the same exact thing. That star is a great light. That's what it's going into. All right, let's get Zechariah 3, verse 8. Zechariah 3, verse 8.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 3, and verse 8.
Yep.
Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch.
Read again.
Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee.
This is referring to the time of Persian captivity when Zerubbabel and Joshua were rebuilding the temple. And the Lord is revealing mysteries unto Joshua. Read again from the top.
Hear now, O Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before thee.
Like Zerubbabel and the other elders. Go ahead.
For they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch.
In time, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. See how this word's in all caps? Emphasis. Emphasis. The branch. Let's see the branches. Jump to chapter 6, verse 12.
Zechariah chapter 6 and verse 12. And speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold, the man whose name is the branch.
Behold, the man whose name, another title, aside from Wonderful and Counselor, whose name is the branch or the vine, same thing, go ahead.
Whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place.
He shall grow up out of his place. Keep that in mind. He shall grow up out of his place. Go ahead.
And he shall build the temple of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Even he shall build the temple of the Lord. And he shall bear the glory.
He shall bear the glory. Go ahead.
And shall sit and rule upon his throne.
He shall sit and rule upon his throne. Who sits upon the throne? The king does, right? Go ahead.
And he shall be a priest upon his throne.
And he shall be a priest on top of being the king upon his throne. So he's a king and he's a priest. Where's that written earlier in class today? Let's see who remembers. Your mind got to go back. We read it earlier. Hopefully y'all paying attention, not just looking at me. You brother, stand up since you called it. One up first.
All right, shalom. Genesis 49 and 10.
Yes. Read it. Very good.
It says,
that boy good.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah.
That's
nor,
the throne. Go ahead, the kingship. Go ahead.
Nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Nor what?
A lawgiver from between his feet.
What did the priests do? They're the lawgivers. He's repeating what Moses said in Genesis 49. Okay, read again, verse 13 again.
Verse 13, Zechariah chapter 6:13. Even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory.
The temple here is referring to the kingdom. Go ahead.
And shall sit and rule upon his throne.
Go ahead.
And he shall be a priest upon his throne.
Go ahead.
And the council of peace.
Oh, and the council of peace. Go ahead.
Shall be between them both.
Between them both. So we understand here that this king that's going to rule, it says, shall bear the glory, shall be sit upon a throne ruling, and shall be a priest also upon the throne. So now remember, because remember there were no more kings at this point. This is no more kings here. The kings are gone. The last king was Zedekiah. This is after Zedekiah, after him. All right?
That means that the prophecy was about Christ.
Right, exactly. Let's get Isaiah 11 and verse 1 about the branch. Let's see where the branch will come from. Isaiah 11 and verse 1. Like I said before, the Bible repeats itself over and over. It said, he shall grow up out. Remember I said earlier in Zechariah, he shall grow up. Let me get it again. Hold that. Hold on a second. Let me get it again. It says in verse Zechariah 6 and 12, behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place. He shall grow up out of his place. Keep that part in mind. Read that now, Isaiah 11 verse 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 1.
Watch this.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse.
Stop. Who's Jesse? David's father. What child of Jesse then? Judah. Now, at this time, David is dead and gone. This is Isaiah's time. David is gone. Read again.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse.
Go ahead.
And a branch shall grow out of his roots.
And a what?
And a branch shall grow out of his roots.
So this branch will come out of what tribe? Judah. Judah. All right? He will come out of Jesse. He will come out of his root. His roots is Jesse's roots. Loins. Exactly. Let's get Isaiah 53 verse 1. Shall grow up out. Grow out of his roots, or grow up out of the land. Isaiah 53 and verse 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 1. Who hath believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed?
The arm of the Lord is his son, as it's referring to. But who will believe it? Because Israel didn't believe during this time. He'll be a son of God, and they don't believe it now. Read on.
For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant.
Stop. Read again.
For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant.
He shall grow up. That's that branch. He shall grow up out of the land. He shall grow up before him as a tender plant. That branch. Go ahead.
And as a root out of a dry ground.
Israel is that dry ground, lacking understanding, lacking nourishment, lacking the water, understanding. He'll grow out of a dry ground. Go ahead.
He had no form of comeliness.
Nor comeliness.
He had no form nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
He won't be a pretty boy, is what he's saying. Read on.
He is despised and rejected of men.
He is despised. No, I'm sorry. Leave that part out. Get Ezekiel 34. Ezekiel 34, verse 29. Ezekiel 34 and 29, real quick. We'll go back to verse 3.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34 and verse 29. And I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore.
Read again.
And I will raise up for them a plant of renown.
A plant of renown, renown means fame. A powerful plant. A plant or a branch of renown. Go ahead. And they what?
And they shall no more be consumed with hunger in the land.
Go ahead.
Neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore.
I mean, captivity ends when this branch is given to us and ruling over us, set as our governor. Go back to Isaiah 53, verse 3.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 53 and verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief.
So the he is telling you that the plant in verse 2 is a he. grow up before him, and as a tender plant. So it says, read again, he what?
He is despised and rejected of men.
He is despised and rejected of men. Go ahead.
A man of sorrows.
Misery.
And acquainted with grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not.
He was despised and we didn't respect him. Hold that. Let's get Psalms 22, verse 1. We're going to go back to Isaiah again. We're going to go back and forth. Psalms 22, verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 22 and verse 1. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roaring?
My God, why hast thou forsaken me? He's repeating. This is David speaking now. All right, and this is the Lord speaking through David in the Psalms. Go ahead. Verse 2.
Verse 2. Oh my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and I'm not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee. They trusted, and thou didst deliver them.
Go ahead.
They cried unto thee and were delivered. They trusted in thee and were not confounded.
Verse 6, watch this.
But I am a worm and no man.
I'm considered a worm. Stepped on, walked on, not respected, not acknowledged. I'm a worm and no man. Go ahead.
But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men, and despised of the people.
And despised of the people. Remember Isaiah 53 verse 3 said, despised of men. Go back to Isaiah again. No, we don't down to Psalms. We down to verse 8.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shoot out the lip.
Curse me out.
They shake their head, saying, he trusted on the Lord that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighted in him.
Right, let him save him. He loved God so much, let him save him. Get wisdom of Psalm 2, verse 13. Solomon saw the same thing that David's saying. He saw the same thing that David saw, or David spoke of. Wisdom of Psalm chapter 2, verse 9. I want verse 13.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 13. He professes to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
Right, child of God, son of God. Go ahead.
He was made to reprove our thoughts.
He was made to correct us.
He is grievous unto us even to behold.
We can't stand him.
For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion.
Go ahead.
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
Right, he counts us as being phony. Go ahead.
He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness.
He don't be around us.
He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his father.
That's what Christ is doing. Go ahead.
Let us see if his words be true.
Then this is the ungodly speaking. Let us see if what he says is true. Go ahead. Remember, it said they shoot at the lip in Psalms 22. They shoot at the lip. I'm despised of men. Saying the same thing. What are they going to say to him again? Verse 17.
Let us see if his words be true.
Let us see if his words are true.
And let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
Let's see what his end will be. Go ahead.
For if the just man be the son of God,
if he is truly the son of God, go ahead.
He will help him.
Let him help him.
And deliver him from the hand of his enemies.
That's Psalms 22 again. Saying the same exact thing David said. Psalm is repeating what David said. Let's get Isaiah 53 again, and verse 3 to verse 5.
Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not.
We didn't respect him. Go ahead.
Surely he had borne our griefs.
Surely he had borne our griefs. Go ahead.
And carried out our sorrows.
He was a man of sorrows. Go ahead.
Yet we did esteem him stricken,
go ahead,
smitten of God, and afflicted.
We esteemed him we esteemed him as someone being hurt by God. This is God punishing him for being wicked. That's how we saw it. He was being beaten for us. We didn't see it that we esteemed him as a man being bitten and afflicted of God. That's how the wicked of us saw it. Like I said in Wisdom of Solomon 2. Go ahead.
Verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions.
But he was being beaten, not because he was being smitten of God for wrong he did, but he was wounded for what?
But he was wounded for our transgressions.
But he was being wounded for our transgressions. Go ahead.
He was bruised for our iniquities.
He was bruised for our iniquities. Possessive words. Us. Our. Go ahead.
The chastisement of our peace was upon him.
Of what?
The chastisement of our peace was upon him.
The Prince of Peace. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. His death will bring us peace. Will bring our nation together. Go ahead.
And with his stripes we are healed.
And with his death we are brought back together. We're given a second chance to repent as a nation, to eventually come out of these curses. Go ahead.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way. The Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
The Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. Who? All who? All the sheep. Who's the sheep? The sheep of Israel. That's what he's talking about. Yep.
As we was reading through this, through these verses, and it said that when he was being beat, talking about Christ, y'all with me, right? While he was being beat, we did not know at the time that he was being, because he didn't do anything wrong. Right. And we thought he was getting beat because of his own doings. Right. And we didn't esteem any of what happened to him in terms of us. I want y'all to relish that thought for a minute. Now, all these years have passed by. We're coming up now. And then we realize this man was innocent. And he was being beat, crucified, tortured for us. Mm-hmm. And all the time back there, we didn't see it that way. We just thought he did something wicked, not realizing that he was going through all of this for us. Now that you know that, because he knew it. He knew he didn't sin. Christ knew he didn't sin. Y'all follow me? But we did not relish that thought. We did not realize that he was doing it for us. But now today, you do know. So what should this do for our actions now? Now that we know that this was done for us. That's the more importance in understanding what this salvation is all about. And he did that and he didn't say a word. Mm-hmm. He took all of that punishment, knowing that it was for us. We didn't. He didn't open his mouth at all. They hit him in the head, mocked him, spit on him, did all of that. And he kept his mouth closed because he said, I'm dying for the Israelites. And we didn't even esteem that. Now that you know that he kept his mouth shut when he knew, how should we be? Now that we found out that this man went through all of this for us. And here we can't even deal with each other properly. Just something to think about. Go ahead, Deacon.
Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 19.
The book of Wisdom of
Verse
Solomon.
18, so you don't lose the thought. Verse 18 again.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 18. For if the just man be the son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies.
That's what he was saying to him on the cross. He was saying those things to him while he was on the cross suffering. Verse 19.
Verse 19. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience.
Read again.
Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience.
That's why we have to understand. The Messiah, when he was being cursed out by his own people, spoken evil of, ridiculed, and criticized, he said nothing. He didn't go back and forth with them. He said, leave it alone. I'm going to stay quiet because these guys know what they do. They're ignorant as hell. Leave it alone. He stayed quiet. And we, as followers of him, are going to encounter the same issues, the same thing. He stayed to himself. He didn't go back and forth. He said, listen, I'm going to stay quiet. I'm going to leave it alone because I know these guys are ignorant. They don't know what they're doing. An example, hold that. Give 1 Peter. I'm jumping ahead, but I don't have it written down, so I'll just go over it now. 1 Peter, I think it's 2. Hold on. 21. Yes, fine.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 21.
You're going to read down to 24.
For even hereunto were ye called.
Mm-hmm. Chosen.
Because Christ also suffered for us.
Christ also suffered for us, Israelites. Go ahead.
Leaving us an example.
Leaving us an example. Go ahead.
That ye should follow his steps.
That we should follow his steps. What steps did he do? Read the next verse. What steps did he take?
Who did no sin.
Who was innocent.
Neither was guile found in his mouth.
Spoke no evil of anyone. Go ahead.
Who, when he was reviled.
When he was spoken evil of, cursed out, called names, mocked. When he was reviled, go ahead.
Reviled not again.
Now go back and forth. He said nothing. Go ahead.
When he suffered, he threatened not.
When he suffered for no reason, in his innocence, he said nothing.
But committed himself to that judgeth righteously.
But committed himself to his Father, who judged righteously. The Lord going to deal with them. But I'm dying for them. This is the Lord's will. That Lord's will be done. Go ahead.
who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree.
On the wood, the cross. Go ahead.
That we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness.
Keep the commandments. Go ahead.
By whose stripes ye were healed.
He's quoting Isaiah 53. By whose stripes ye were healed. By his beating, his punishment, and his being buffeted, you are granted a second chance to repent. The Israelites were granted a chance of deliverance, salvation. Gotta follow his steps. Go back to Isaiah again, 53. Is that where we were? Let me look at it.
Yeah, we're up to verse 7.
All right, read it again.
Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 7. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before the shears is dumb.
Now remember, the sheep usually stood in a line, and then they bring them in and they kill one by one. The sheep just walk up. The sheep don't say nothing. The sheep, like a farmer, he brings the sheep into the shed. He killed one. He brings one in. They just walk in there. They walk in there, get killed. One comes in, walks in, gets killed. They don't say, hey, I ain't going on that line. He killed the one before me. I ain't going on that line. The sheep says nothing. It just does what it's told. It's led him to the barn to be killed, and it does what it's told. Christ did the exact same thing. Didn't argue. Didn't go back and forth. He said, I gotta go.
Try to picture yourself in his shoes if you can, if you can dare do so. Here's a man that hasn't committed any sin at all, and he's going to take the sins of all of us, and he's going to die to atone for the whole nation of Israel. He didn't open his mouth to defend himself or anything. And think about the power that he had. When the centurions came to take him, the soldiers came to take him, they were looking for him, and Christ said, whom seek ye? And he threw, huh?
No, he said, who are you?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He said, whom seek ye? And they said, we looking for him. And when he did this, they all fell backwards.
Yeah.
So think about the power. Think about the power that he had. He had to turn his power off to allow these misfits to hang him. Think about, you got all of this power. You could have put the earth between your forefinger and your thumb and smashed it. He said, I could call thousands of legions of angels to take care of all of this. And he turned all of that off for the love of this nation. That's why I say you got to think and relish what this Bible is really saying. That's the reason why it's going to be a terrible death for the ones of us that mess up in this.
He has brought, verse 7, about the middle of it, he has brought as?
Verse 7. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter. And as a sheep before her shears is dumb.
Stop. As a sheep before her shearers is dumb. They don't speak. They don't say a word. A shearers don't have shaves the sheep down. They mow the sheep down. Go ahead.
So he openeth not his mouth.
Didn't say a word. Didn't say nothing. Go ahead.
He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who will declare his generation?
And who shall declare his generation? Who? Go ahead.
For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
Read again.
He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation?
Who shall declare his generation? Where are we at? Verse 8?
Verse 8.
Give me 1 second. I don't want to skip anything. Read on. Go ahead.
For he was cut off out of the land of the living.
He was killed. Go ahead.
For the transgression of my people.
For who?
For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
That shows you who Christ died for. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. Not all people, not all nations, my people. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. I mean, how clear is that? Verse 8 destroys Christianity in itself. This verse 8 alone. This is before he's even born. It tells you his purpose. For the transgressions of my people.
Yes, for the transgressions of my people. Yeah, me and Eythan pull the scriptures many times, many of our class. Where we going to find that scripture, the precept? For the transgressions of my people. I give you the book in Hebrew.
Oh, yeah.
For the transgressions of my people.
Hebrews 9:15.
Yes, for the transgressions of my people.
That's it. That's the verse. Daniel 9:25. Now remember, the Most High spoke to Joshua the priest about a branch coming out of them and would be eventually sit on the throne and will be a priest. Y'all remember that? Zechariah 6, verse 12 and 13. Y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? Some of y'all are quiet. Do y'all remember that? Zechariah 6, 12 and 13. All right.
The book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times.
So Daniel is giving us the time frame in which things will be restored. Now, the temple, at this time, the temple is already built, because Daniel came after, I believe. Yes or no? No, not this time, no. So he's telling us in this time, thank you. So at this time, he's telling us that the temple will be built again, and the walls will be built again. Right, I'm wrong, because Daniel was before that. It's right after that. It was destroyed. So Daniel before that. So he's telling us that in the time frame of the temple being built and the walls being restored, it says he's giving us a time frame unto the Messiah, the Prince. Y'all see that? It says to restore and build Jerusalem. That's the temple and the walls. Up until the Messiah, the Prince, he gives a time frame. 7 weeks and 62 weeks. That's the time frame he's giving us. Go ahead. The bottom of verse 25. The street. Read from the top.
Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall, even in troublous times.
Because during the time when these things are trying to be restructured, Zerubbabel and Joshua, during the time of the construction, they were giving them a hard time trying to rebuild the temple, and they were giving them a hard time, Nehemiah, a hard time later on trying to rebuild the walls. So he's giving us a time frame that from that time, there's going to be troublous times rebuilding the Jerusalem again, the temple and the walls, up until the Messiah. All right, so he's giving us a time frame. Go ahead.
Verse 26.
Messiah the Prince. The Messiah the Prince. It is a capital P, like Isaiah 9 and 6 and 7. The Prince of Peace. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off.
And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. Go ahead.
But not for himself.
Not for himself, but for who? Hold on, but for who? Where's that written at? Isaiah what? Isaiah 53. Not for himself, but for the transgressions of the Lord's people. Not for him. He's not going to die for himself. He's going to die for his people. That's what it's telling you. Go ahead.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself.
Remember Isaiah said, cut off from where? The land of the living. Isaiah said, cut off from the land of the living in Isaiah 53. Crucified. So Daniel's telling us what happened long before. Like Isaiah, the same thing. Daniel's confirming what Isaiah's saying. Go ahead.
And the people of the prince that shall come and destroy the city.
People of the prince is going into Titus and Vespasian. Titus, Vespasian's son, the Roman Caesar. Go ahead.
And the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with the flood, and unto the end of the war.
The Jewish war between Rome and Israel. Go ahead.
Desolations are determined.
Our land will be desolate up until now. So giving a time frame from Persian captivity, a window from Persian captivity leading into Christ. You're going to have troublous times in Persian captivity trying to rebuild Jerusalem, in troublous times after the Messiah is cut off. That's what he's saying. Troublous times, Persian captivity leading into Christ, in troublous times leading after Christ. Y'all follow? Let's see how long. Let's get Esdras, 2nd Esdras 7:28. He showed Isaiah and he showed Daniel. And he showed Ezra more. 2nd Esdras 7, verse 28. In the class. 2nd Esdras 7 and verse 28.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7 and verse 28. For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him.
This is Ezra. He's giving us his name. Because the Old Testament Israelites say, oh, we're going to say Jesus in the Old Testament. We're reading it. There goes his name right there. Read again.
For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him.
His disciples will be with him. Go ahead.
And they shall and they that remain.
Those that survive. Remember, the troublous times, they start to get persecution after Christ died. Go ahead.
and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Within when?
Within 400 years.
So 400 years after Persian captivity, what came? Nope. Rome. Rome came 400 years after Persian captivity. 400
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcasts, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.
Shalom, this is Nathan Israel. Right now you're tuning to the Archangel Show, home of the realest music to your ears. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Sister Avia. Thanks for tuning in to the Archangel Show.
Archangel on WFI Radio. Check it out.
Hey, it's Brother Aaron. We're live on the Archangel Show right now. WFRM Radio. Stay tuned. Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Malachi, and you're tuned into the Archangel Show.
You're in tune to the Archangel Show. Righteous music to make your halo glow.
You're listening to the Archangel radio station. Tune in to the Archangel Show, the #1 show.
You're in tune to the Archangel radio show.
You're definitely in tune to the Archangel radio show. Nice and neat. That's my outro. So enough respect in every aspect. Thank you for tuning in. Do remember next week, Sunday, we got the live Ben Javite hookup interview. It's going to be live on Facebook Live, right? Obviously the show starts at 4 p.m. The interview will be 5 o'clock UK time. That's 12 o'clock American time. All right. Do remember, check out my YouTube channel. It's new, it's fresh. And please go on there and subscribe for me. All right. Check out my Facebook page. Please go on there, like the content and etc. All right. And remember to spread the word and keep tagging and sharing the Archangel Show so people can get this positive message out and wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Big up the 12 tribes worldwide. I'm going to say enough respect in every aspect. Once again, big up the Car Boot team and another excellent day out. All praises to the Most High. With that, the Archangel is out of here. I'm going to say shalom. Most High in Christ bless you all. Have a prosperous week. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.